Welcome back to the channel, your home of hopium-free crypto and economic market cycles updates. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and the continued resistance we're finding at $40,000. What can we expect over the next 24 hours, especially with the news from the Fed coming out very, very soon? Are they going to raise interest rates, and is this already priced into the markets? The trickiest part of the video, asking you to tap like and subscribe with the bell notification icon if you haven't already. All right, let's crack on. Our free newsletter is coming out in less than 8 hours, so check out the link in the top of the description, drop your details down below and hit subscribe. Plenty of good stuff on Bitcoin, stocks, why they continue to go down, and why we think real estate is looking far more bullish than it ever has before. All that's in the free newsletter coming out, so make sure you subscribe to that. Taking a look at the fear and greed index, we are still sitting in extreme fear, have basically been here for a good part of nearly 2 weeks, with the odd bounce in between, which you could almost call it 6 weeks in extreme fear. Yet the prices have remained relatively stable with the odd pump and drop to lower prices. But basically we've remained consistent at around the $37,000 to $39,000. And it looks like Bitcoin is attempting to set up for a move again above $40,000. But first up, let's just take a quick look at the macro resistance and macro support. So the support we can see is at around 28 to 29,000. A lot of people just calling it a round number at 30, but you can see the major lows that came in for the market to bounce off of to get to its highs of 60,000 came in at 28,800 and again 28,900. So we see this as macro support in between these zones. So the higher end is at around 46,000. This looks like the market is carving out a fair value. Now, it doesn't mean that this remains fair value long term, but at the moment, this is showing that it's fair value between the price of $29,000 and $46,000. As we can see, the market's been here for quite some time. So as a macro view, this is looking all right. We're getting some higher closes, and on the weekly chart, we're starting to climb a little higher. You can see we scrolling a little more. The weekly move, we've got another 5 days to go, but if we get this close above $39,500 to $40,000, then this will be one of the highest closes that we've seen in this period here of about 6 weeks. We did get a couple of weeks out, but it quickly came back under. So we'll be getting higher lows if this happens, and then also higher closes as well. And as I record, you can see the alerts come up. Bitcoin has finally cracked the 40,000. So we still have 22 hours to go. As I was doing my research, my chart checks this morning, it was still sitting at 39,600 and just trying to attempt that breakout. But of course, as I'm filming this, there we go. This is the hourly chart. It's now 10 past 12. It literally happened in the few minutes that I'm filming this. So we've got that breakout of 40,000 that we've been waiting for. And you can see on a technical basis here, on an hourly chart, you can see the lows are getting higher. Got one low here, another low here. Of course, you had a low that came in on the 15th. Market pushed for 40, came back under, but quickly reversed. So that's the nice thing to see there, especially when you get lower, the lows are getting lower. So you can see the low drop below the previous one, but the market quickly reversed and recovered that loss. So there was a good support at 38,500 and around 37,000. We finally got the break. So this thing is just taken off now, 41,300. And here we go. Hopefully that attempt at the next high, which is at 42.5. If I take this back a little bit further, now we're looking back towards that $46,000. So just a few days ago, or I should say a couple of weeks ago, I was looking for Bitcoin to potentially break out of the $46,000 zone. It failed, but it put in a higher low. So let's put it on a 4-hour chart. You can see these higher lows were coming in here on the 24th, again on the 28th, again on the 8th of March, and just recently again on the 14th of March. So this is good to see that we finally broke the 40,000 again. This level is going to be the next test at 42,500. So high lows, let's go to break some of these high highs, sitting in this fair value zone for now, and attempt the 46 to get back above the 46 and consolidate before we move towards 52,000, and hopefully give us some sort of positive close to the month of March and give us some altcoin pumps in April. Now, what happens if this doesn't work out? How do we know? Well, we still have 22 hours on the daily chart, so we can see that the market is trying to move. The sign here would be if it happened to pump and then close back under $40,000. That would be a very weak sign for Bitcoin. Even if it breaks these levels here at 42,500, if the close is lower, that's going to be my weak signal to say, well, that was another failed attempt, and we're probably going to test the lower prices again at around 37 or 38,000. So fingers crossed this move keeps going and is 42, 43,000 by the time you see this. Currently at 41,500. Hopefully that doesn't age like milk. But yeah, for now, that's the positive sign. We're getting there, higher lows. Flip side to that is if we get a lower close. As for the Fed, we're going to find out in the next 24 hours if they raise the interest rates, but it's probably already factored in given that Fed Chairman Jerome Powell has already given the green light for a 25 basis point benchmark interest rate hike. The first since 2008, followed by a series of increases. So this is the unknown, a series of increases, the unknown to the market. What's known to the market is he has already said that we'll get at least a 25 basis point. So if we get a 50 basis point, it might put a dampener on the market's efforts at the moment, especially things like Bitcoin, which is, as you can see, pumping while I'm making this video. Throughout the year, and we get these series of increases, the market kind of knows that, but I guess they don't want too many too quickly as well. So that's going to be the question marks throughout 2022. Some other news which probably isn't making headlines, but used to make headlines when the market was pumping, it's things to do with El Salvador. And we talked about the Bitcoin bond, which El Salvador was looking to launch here, but it's now coming out this week. El Salvador officials say the country is still considering a timeline between March 15 and March 20 to launch its Bitcoin bond. But of course, there are a lot of other world factors coming into play now, which might take away the efforts that they're putting towards bringing in funds into the country. So they may delay this. As for the development and adoption in the space, while the Bitcoin price remains relatively stable, even though we're seeing that short-term pump, Coinbase is expanding. So the biggest exchange in the world outlines the path ahead for its planned derivatives offerings. So it's looking to expand with crypto derivatives, stock derivatives, whatever they are looking to do. They want to bring on derivatives into the business, of course, to make more fees from their clients. That's part of the business model, to make money. The $10 million bet over Luna's price is also an interesting point. What do you think? Do you think the price of Luna is going to be worth more in 1 year's time than what it is today? So this bet was made between Terraform Labs CEO Dogecoin and some other Twitter people, GCR, into an escrow account of Kobe's. So they both put $10 million in each for this bet. The Luna price at the moment is $88. So that was the time of the bet when they deposited that money there. So it was about $88. So will the price of Luna be more than $88 in 1 year's time, or will it be less? If it's less, GCR wins the $20 million. If it's more, then Dogecoin wins the $20 million. Let's have a look at the chart. And at the moment, it's at $90. So it's up a little bit. It's only 1 day into the bet. If this double top plays out, then it's very possible, I'd say more on the probable side, that the price will be under $88 longer term. The other thing I'm looking at here is the log scale for Luna. If this can't close above the log, it's probably going to play out in this sideways zone for a period of time, potentially trend higher, but we really need to start seeing some closes above the log here. That would be a good sign for Luna to start to push to bigger prices in the short term as well. Recently, I thought we were going to get this breakout, but the weekly chart, the macro chart, was closing beneath the log scale here. As you can see, the close was at 79, then the next close was about $87. You can see the orange line is basically forming the resistance. The market did try and break out a couple of times and has failed, but we're still getting higher lows, so it's still very possible. I think the big call here is if the market does break down and probably breaks past that $70, it's going to be far more difficult in that year's period, I think, to close above the $88. Of course, time will tell. I'm a fan of the meme coins. I love trading them, but they all have their seasons. And for the case of Doge is obviously in a bear market. It's been in a bear market for many, many months since Saturday Night Live, essentially, which called the top. So you could almost call that a year-long bear market for Dogecoin. And it doesn't matter about tweets. It's kind of what I was talking about earlier in the bull market for cryptocurrencies. Someone tweets, of course, Elon Musk tweets. He loves his cryptos. He's not going to sell his cryptos, as he's stated here, his Bitcoin, ETH, and Doge. The price barely did anything So you can see the price here only moved about a cent and then closed halfway down the bar. Sure, the price is back up now because Bitcoin is moving, but really it only moved from 11 cents to a peak of 12 cents, closing halfway back down. So it really just depends what stage of the cycle it is in. No matter what, if the cycle is bullish and someone tweets about it, more is going to happen. If the cycle is bearish and someone tweets about it in a positive way, he said he was going to hold on to his crypto, it doesn't really make any difference. You know, you can see that this basically was sideways. This is on an hourly chart. As for a macro view daily, it's barely done anything to the chart. No one would even know in a year's time, in a few days' time, that this was a tweet day. Speaking about my thoughts of what I think will happen with meme coins, NFTs, I've got a good question here from you guys in the comments. Dude, what do you think will happen now with NFT market? Well, I think it's going to be the same sort of fate as many of these meme coins. They're basically based on people's hopes and dreams. I'm not saying all of them are going to go to zero, but my view for altcoins is that they're essentially 95% of them are all shitcoins, and NFTs are no different. They're made up of communities of people that have hopes and dreams that their JPEG is going to go to millions of dollars, like CryptoPunks or Bored Ape Yacht Club or MeBits or whatever the next thing is. But if they don't have the energy or the capital to continue pushing their communities, then they'll probably fade away just like the rest of these projects do over time. Kobe and Twitter puts it in a great way as well. 95% of these trendy alt layer ones will fail to maintain ecosystems, and anything that will struggle with funding will disappear. Example, sushi, maybe. That's a sushi DEX. And all these coins going full Ponzi-nomics for growth purposes will die like a bunch of these AVAX ecosystems. Most NFT roadmaps will be abandoned. I definitely agree with this. Most of these roadmaps will probably be abandoned. It's going to take way too much energy for the creators of these NFT programs to continue pushing these things through a bear market. It's like pushing shit up a hill. Most will die. That's the reality about the NFTs and a lot of these altcoins. The beauty about it is it gives us more things to play with. I was going to say gamble on. Essentially, a lot of people are gambling, but that's to do with their trading and make more Bitcoin or Ethereum if that is your plan. That's why I've always stuck to holding more Bitcoin, holding more Ethereum, and some stable coins so I can gamble with that, trade with that later when the bull market comes around again. That's essentially my experience over the last 15 years. I've seen it happen in real estate as well. Small country towns, maybe even mining towns, a town that only has one thing going on. Essentially, they pump really hard and they can also fall 90% from their highs. And if you like learning more about this, this has been my experience in investing, as I said, over the last 15 years. You might also like the podcast I do with Eric Crown over on his channel. We do this once a week. Go check out Eric. I'll leave a link in the description as well if you're keen on that. Otherwise, check out the link in the top of the description to our free newsletter coming out in just a few hours' time, covering everything in crypto, stocks, and of course, real estate. Do those things that I love to say, like, subscribe, share it with a friend, and comment your questions down below. I'll see you guys at the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done.